so let's get into that quarterback discussion now. We got to use the C word, the comps word. Now, obviously, you and Jayden Daniels, Heisman winners, dual threats, very successful at the college level, and obviously both going to be taken, possibly both taken second overall. We're not sure yet, but of course, that's led to a lot of comparisons. People are saying your guys' games are pretty similar. So I'm curious, from your perspective, do you see any overlap? Do you think there's anything to those comps?
Yeah, like I've answered this question a bunch over the past couple of weeks, and it's not a problem. It's one of the deals of like there's a bunch of people because Jayden is tied to the Commanders, right? There's a bunch of guys, Greg May, J.J. McCarthy, but Jayden has been the one that most people said we think they're going to pick this guy. So there's some people that are like, oh man, we're afraid of that because he reminds us of you, and I'm like, okay. Well, what is Drake May's skill set? Athletic, strong arm, can make off-schedule plays, got that dog in him. Okay, what's J.J. McCarthy's skill set? Athletic, got a straight arm, got a strong arm. You know, when you ask him to, he can make plays off-schedule. All right, well, what's Michael Penix's skill set? Athletic, great pocket passer, ran a 4.46 at his pro day. Like, what are we talking about here, people? All these guys have the same skill sets. They're just all a little bit better in certain aspects. You know what I'm saying? So for Jayden, unless you're just simply saying we're both black, all these guys are very similar to myself. Colin Kaepernick, Russell Wilson, Randall Cunningham, Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray. We're all in that same boat of athletic, dual threat / triple threat quarterbacks who can beat you with their arm, their legs, and their mind. I just think I'm not this guy that walks around like I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I know that in the world today that's popular, you know, be brash, be in your face, be I'm this, I'm that. Like, I think all these guys are better than I was. I watched Jayden Daniels 3 times this year, and I'm like, what? Did you see that throw? Like, his pre-snap, you hear I say pre-snap, post-snap, this, but his pre-snap analysis of the plays reflects in how he approaches the game post-snap. And I'm saying that to you because he uses a system called augmented reality, and he uses it to study the defense. And it pops up on the screen and goes away really fast. So he has to identify what it was. What was the coverage? What was the front? What was the defense? What was the blitz pattern? And it speeds up his reaction in game in real time. So when I say that, he goes from the traditional thought process, you go 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. And I said that to one of my coaches in Washington when I first got there because that's what I was taught through the draft process. You go 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. He's like, bro, if you go 1 to 5, you're getting sacked. And I'm like, that's a good point. Makes sense. So with Jayden, what I noticed was instead of going 1 through 5, because he would see the look, he would go 1 to 4, 2 to 3 to 4. Because he knew that 1 and 2 were dead based off the coverage. And that's an advantage when you as a quarterback can play ahead of the defense.
Yep.
And that's what I saw from him routinely. And it helps when you have Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. and a guy that not a lot of people are talking about, but Kyron Lacey. Like, they are really talented wide receivers, but somebody's got to throw them the ball. So I'm not going to punish Jayden for having those guys. I'm going to say, let me watch the tape, because he's going to have those guys in the NFL too. Every dude on that 1 through 5 or 1 through 6 on the NFL roster was that dog in high school. It was the man in college. You know what I'm saying? So when I watch Jayden play, I'll say this. You can take away his legs. Like, just take away the fact that he makes so many explosive run plays and just watch his passes. And he's still the second best quarterback in the draft. That, to me, is a testament to the type of quarterback that he is.
Testing my skills on PrizePicks this season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps. Use the code CLNS for the first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
And you see the criticisms about like, oh, well, he'll tuck it and he'll run too fast, or, sometimes he doesn't hit the backside dig consistently. But you don't know how these guys are being coached either. Like, there's also the point to make of, you have a lot of receivers who can run in a straight line and beat a lot of people. And if he's getting single high, do you want him to throw like over the middle, maybe into the post safety just to make you feel better? Like, no, sometimes you're just throwing to where, like you said, the open receiver is. And when it comes to that pre-snap process and going through the defense, absolutely, I think that's what makes him the most pro-ready quarterback in this class outside of Caleb Williams, is that ability to win before the snap, and then obviously all the physical talent as well. My biggest concern for him personally is the frame. Like, the arm strength a bit, just because if he comes to New England, the cold weather, like we saw in the last game of last season where Bailey Zappi, they don't have the same arm. But just an example, Bailey Zappi cannot throw downfield when the wind is coming his way. As soon as the quarter switches and it went the other way, I'm like, he's going to throw the same thing and it's going to be fine. And it's a perfect pass. Like, those things do matter. So not as much the arm strength or the frame. And obviously he does have that like Wile E. Coyote kind of run style where he'll run into a dude and then all the coins fly out. I'm mixing animated metaphors here, but my point is, do you think the frame is something that is a legitimate concern at the NFL level? Not only, obviously, if he does reel in some of the running stuff and kind of put himself in harm's way, but also just because you see so many times guys get hurt in the pocket. The narrative is always that, the athletic quarterback, they're going to get hurt if they scramble. Most guys like Randall Cunningham, Lamar Jackson, these guys get hurt when they're inside the pocket. So how much does that concern you? Because, God made him the way he is. There's nothing he can do about that.
Yeah, nothing about his frame concerns me, because I saw Jayden Daniels when he was at Arizona State. He is not the same build that he was at Arizona State, right? He's and it's funny. People make fun of the way you say it, but he's thicker. He's thicker now than he was at Arizona State. Naturally, as men, the older we get, the thicker we get. Okay, so he's 23. He's 23, and he's going to continue to grow into his frame. So that doesn't worry me. And I think that he's not going to keep running in the hits. Right, I've talked to him about it. Okay. I didn't slide very well, and then by the time I started to try to slide, I had a knee brace on in 2013, and it's like, that's getting messed up. Now I can't slide, because if I slide, I'm going to have to sit out for 5 plays because they're taking all the grass out of my knee brace. But for him, I'm not afraid of his frame. What's the difference in his frame and Drake May's frame? Because people be making it seem like Drake May out there built like a bodybuilder or something. Like, Drake May is a tall, slender frame, similar to Jayden's. Jayden is smaller. I think he weighs 10 pounds less. But both of those guys can easily grow and put on 10 to 15 more pounds. It doesn't have to be muscle. Like, you look at Patrick Mahomes, like, would anybody mistake Patrick Mahomes for like a fitness model? No. But he's flexible. He has good weight on him to protect himself. Those guys can easily develop that. If you go into this thing thinking because these guys are mobile and athletic that they're going to get hurt outside the pocket, then you don't watch football. Football is a 100% injury rate. All positions. Tom Brady was not a scrambler, and he tore his ACL. Yep. Okay? Joe Burrow has been hurt multiple times. Injuries is just something that guys have to deal with. You want to minimize the opportunities to get hurt, but I don't think his frame is necessarily a problem. People said that Lamar's frame was probably going to be a problem when he got to the NFL. He's been okay. He got one of the biggest contracts in league history. So I'm not afraid of him getting hurt. As a team, put him in position to be successful, and he picks his spots. Like, he's not running every single play. He's trying to throw most of the time, but when he runs, he's super dynamic at it.